Hi, this is Jamey with Stonemaier Games, and today I'm going to talk about my favorite game mechanism in Great Western Trail from one of my favorite designers, Alexander Pfister. I got this game last week and we've already played it twice in my group because we really love it. It has a huge number of really interesting mechanisms that come together in various ways. And I wanted to focus on my favorite, obviously, today, which is the hand management system. In Great Western Trail, you are herding cattle from one side of the board all the way over to the other to Kansas City. And then you are selling each unique cattle in your hand at the time when you arrive at Kansas City for a certain amount of money, and then you do some other stuff too, depending on that number. So if I arrive in Kansas City with 2 purple cows that are worth 2, a white cow that's worth 2, and then a gray cow that's worth 1. I only count one of the purple cows, the white cow and the gray cow, so I would get $5. And the award that I get, there's this track that you put down some stuff on, and the reward that you get there is dependent on that number as well. So you want the highest value hand when you arrive at Kansas City. But throughout the journey to Kansas City, you are going to these buildings that are along the route, and you are often using cows in hand as payment to get things along the way. And by payment, this is kind of a deck building element where you're not really paying the cow and getting rid of it permanently. Rather, you are taking a cow from hand and putting it in your discard pile. And so later on, it will go back into your deck and be part of your hand again. And this is really crucial because it means that you're not always kind of catching up with the things that you're spending. You're just circulating the same things that you have over and over again. And this is where the really clever part comes in, because your hand, it isn't like many deck building games where you're discarding your entire hand at the end of the turn. Rather, you're maintaining a specific hand and managing that hand in terms of what you decide to pay out of it, so that when you get to Kansas City, you have the best possible hand. I usually play mine open face on the table because I kind of like to look at what I have all the time. The other people in my group play it with closed hand, as you're supposed to. But I really like the idea that I've got my deck. I don't know exactly what's going to come up in the deck. I've got my hand, which I have full control over at all times. So I know that I can spend cows if I need to. I can keep what I need to, so I can have that maximum amount of ideally 4 different cows of value 2 or higher when I end up in Kansas City. And I have my discard pile, which I can look through at any time to remind myself of what I have, what's coming. Whenever I buy a new cow, it goes to the discard pile, similar to other deck building games. But it's that constant hand that you have full agency over, full control, that I really love. And one other element of this that I should mention is you can acquire milestone cards. They're kind of like end game goals throughout the game. And when you do, they go into your deck. They go into your discard pile and they're going to come up. And normally in a deck building game, these would end up clogging up your deck. And they kind of do, but you have the choice when one of them shows up on your hand. Each one has a bonus in the upper left-hand corner that you can play at any time pretty much any time during your turn to get a one-time special bonus, which is great. So it means if you do that, you remove it from your hand and you just keep it in front of you. So you can remove those cards from your deck if you want to, and you get a bonus from it, which is awesome. The catch, though, is that if you do that, at the end of the game, if you cannot accomplish that milestone, then you lose some points. Whereas if you keep it in your deck, you can choose whether or not to accomplish that milestone. It's totally your choice. So you don't lose anything. At best, you just gain some points. Whereas if you have used it for that bonus and it's in play, then you can only gain that bonus. Or then you can gain or lose the bonus. It's kind of up to you to actually get it. Kind of like Ticket to Ride, where if you don't accomplish a route, then you lose points. So I really like that element of the hand management system too, where if one of those cards shows up in your hand, you have the choice. Do I want this to continue to clog up my deck, or do I want to play it now and maybe lose some points at the end of the game? I absolutely love this hand management system. It's one of the best I've ever seen in a deck building game, maybe the best. And this isn't even really a deck building game. It's just one of the mechanisms in the game. But I really like that sense of control over my hand, especially given that your hand really matters when you end up in Kansas City. This isn't something that should be left to random chance, and the game allows you to have control over it. I'd love to hear your thoughts on your favorite mechanism in Great Western Trail if you've played it, or if you have another deck building game that gives you a sense of control and you really like that element of control that the game is giving you. I'd love to hear about that in the comments as well. Thanks.